Okay, we're live. Good morning, Colby, Kansas. Good morning, America. This is Justin at Seeking Context with Bonnie, Cameron, and Carloff, the proprietors of Orange in Colby, Kansas. They've had a really interesting entrepreneurial journey from Germany to the United States and all kinds of interesting things. And so it's exciting to talk to you and hear about the story behind the Orange.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So first, I was here on New Year's Eve. It's a really cool, fun place. You've got live music. You've got really cool drinks. But when people come to the Orange, what should they expect? What is the Orange? What is Orange all about?
It's basically a big part of us and a big part of Berlin. It's something that we were missing around here, like a bar where you just hang out.
Have good music.
Have a conversation with your friends without TVs blurring.
Distractions.
It's not a sports bar.
It's not a sports bar.
Definitely not a sports bar. And different kind of drinks, different kind of music, providing something that was not around here.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're relatively new in terms of when you opened, correct?
Yeah, we are 4 months old.
Okay.
So.
And how's it going? There was a bunch of people here on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, New Year's Eve was fun.
Yeah.
And we feel like we're having fun and it's going really well. We think we're not business people. We're just more
business owners.
Let's just do it and find out what happens. But everybody's happy.
It seems like that people that come enjoy it, are happy.
And so, so it's inspired by your experience in Berlin. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Well, Carloff is originally from Berlin.
Okay, and you guys have lived in Berlin?
And that's where we met, and I was there for almost 12 years.
Okay.
And so it was a lot of what we were missing, having moved from Berlin back to rural Kansas, Northwest Kansas, and this is what we're missing.
Right.
And there's nowhere to get it, but we are staying here, so let's just make it happen so that we have it.
Right.
And give it to everybody else. So.
Right, so you've got a Berlin nightclub in the heartland of
basically,
the United States. Yeah, that's great. Well, tell me about the music. You've performed, but you have other acts come in.
Yes.
And so what kind of acts do you have? Where do you find them? And how do I find out what's going on?
Yeah, sorry, here comes the bulldog.
Okay,
I apologize for that.
Right.
Our one and only. The next act that we have will be Brad Dawson from Fort Hays State University. He's the trumpet professor there and is an incredible jazz trumpetist. Trumpeter.
Okay.
He's a phenomenal musician, and we've listened to him several times and are very excited to have him. He'll be here on the 12th of February, and I'm very excited. Probably April 9th, we'll have the Milk Blossoms from Denver come, and they're also a very exciting up-and-coming young band. And the idea is for us to support up-and-coming professional musicians, or in the case of Brad Dawson, just really good, established musicians.
Right. And also something that is not around here.
Yeah.
As much like jazz music and what was last Saturday? How would you say? Rhythm,
funk, R&B, soul was the group that we had last weekend, where they did a lot of looping with trumpet and vocals and bass guitar, and it was very cool. We're going to have them back. That was Cucumber Blue, and we really want to have them back.
Right.
They were fantastic.
And is there an email list, or how do I find out, or just check your website in order to know, or your Facebook page to know what's coming up?
Facebook, everything is on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, right now we're just, not very good with technology, so we're figuring it out. We're finding that we're getting older and the technology is moving faster than our brains are. So mostly everything's over Facebook.
Okay, got it. So people can check there. They can find out when music acts are coming in. Are you open every night of the week, or what are the normal hours for people?
Thursday through Saturday from 4 o'clock on until everybody leaves.
Yeah.
And some nights live music, and some nights just the music that you play.
Yeah, generally we'll maybe have live music once a month at this point, and that'll be on Saturdays.
Okay.
Is the goal.
All right. And the drinks are you have specialty drinks. Are these drinks that are you mixologists, or did you come up with them yourself?
I don't. Some just we come up. I'm pretty sure somebody else somewhere on this earth has come up with the same drink somehow. It's so many bars out there. You never know. But sometimes the bottles scream at you, mix me together, and sometimes you just find a good recipe somewhere that you think, oh, that I want to try that out, and I want to provide that.
Right. So you sort of mix it up, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there might be a different drink on this week than there was last week in terms of what you're promoting.
Yes.
It's a full bar regardless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, full bar regardless. And we've actually had a new house cocktail menu every week. In February, it's Louis Buñuel's birthday month, which is one of Carloff's favorite authors. And
Film director. And he loved gin, so we are having a martini month.
Martini month.
In honor
Right.
of Louis Buñuel.
All right.
Martini month.
Cool.
In the beginning we were changing up the cocktail menu like every week, but you're running out of ideas after a while.
So it's just maybe once a month.
Yeah.
Change it
Yes,
up.
we
Okay.
have a February menu right now.
All right. Well, and the food. So on New Year's, beef bourguignon, outstanding. How often can I get that in here? And it seems like the food, you kind of do like one menu item a day.
We finally figured out how to explain that, and is that it's kind of like we have everybody come to our home for a dinner party. And this is what we've cooked today
Yep.
for everybody to enjoy. So this week we have a kale stew, which is kale and sausage and pork shoulder and onions and potatoes is the main dish. And we have also our French truck stop, which is that's every weekend. We have the French truck stop, which is a baguette with salami, Parmesan, arugula, and a tomato garlic vinaigrette, which we figure is what you would get if you stop at a French truck stop and get a sandwich.
What truck stops in France?
Right. Yeah.
I've been
We
buying
have really good food.
Cool. Well, so tell me about the decision to how you found this space. This is an old theater, and the decision to renovate this and how that all went down. What's the story?
We were looking for a place to open a bar in Colby, and it was empty. And we drove by, and it was like, this is for sale. And we only knew the front of the building because it used to be a computer store after it was a movie theater. So we thought, well, just have a look at it. And then we went through the whole house, and it spoke to us and every room told us, you should do this here and that there. And then we thought, well, yeah, it's worth it. Let's go with it.
Our idea was about a week old too. So we had not really planned on finding the building. So we sat in the building and we're like, oh, I guess this is okay. I guess we're going to really do this now.
It was here when you thought of it.
Yeah, basically, yes. So it was fun.
The process of transforming it from what it was to what it is took a long time.
And it's still not done.
Okay. Well, what happened then, and what are you planning for the future? Because the whole other half of the building is yours as well.
Yes.
And it's currently not used.
No, we got done with 2/3 of the building and we were tired of being dirty. And so we decided we were going to pause and just enjoy the building a little bit before we dove back into construction again. The first thing we had to do was we built our apartment. It used to be one theater. And the very back of the building was the original curved stage with the floodlights and everything.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, naturally, I have to live on that. So we built like a tiny house on the back on the stage, and that's where we live.
All right.
And then the front, we started to change.
It's like Moulin Rouge situation.
A little bit. Yes. Fabulous. And then we built my studio so that I could start working.
We built what we needed first. So
Yeah.
the studio needed to be first, and then this needed to be next, so people can walk through here to the studio.
Yeah.
And then, we got tired and thought, well, let's open the bar, pop it up here in our own building, and finish the rest later.
Yeah.
So when you bought this, you were also buying a home.
Yeah.
So it made it a little easier to take the risk.
Right. When that's kind of, I don't know, that seems to be our MO. That's what we did first in Hoxie.
Okay.
Bought the pool hall and turned that into our home and my studio, and then found a new old building in Colby, built this building and turned it into our home and our workspace. And we don't separate very well from everything. It's
Okay.
all one thing.
What's going on in the pool hall that used to be your studio? in
That
Hoxie?
would be Bottle Cap Studios now
Okay.
with Carl Pratt.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
That's his.
That's his studio now and his living space when we worked, and that's,
Okay.
nice connection with the Main Street Arts Council and
Right.
yeah.
Well, so Main Street Arts Council is
Mm-hmm.
you run a bar. This studio, you teach music,
Uh-huh.
right? And do you also teach elementary?
And oh yeah. So here are all the
Yeah,
jobs,
okay,
right?
Give me the list.
So when we first moved to Kansas, so I opened up my studio, the living room, and I'd give voice and piano lessons privately. And then we started the Main Street Arts Council so that we could do, the main thing with the Main Street Arts Council for me was to run the Main Street Summer Theater Festival and work with children in theater. And so that's what we do in the summertime. Then I started at Golden Plains Elementary teaching K-5 elementary. And then we opened a bar.
But you didn't quit any of those other
I
things.
did not quit any of those other things. And we're doing it.
Right. And you, Carloff, you work here, but you're also a musician.
Not really. No.
Okay.
No. That is a blast from the past.
Okay.
It's no.
That was New Year's Eve was a little bit of Berlin reminiscing as well. He was in
Okay.
bands in Berlin.
Okay.
And so jumping in and playing a little bass guitar was.
So every now and again, someone will twist your arm and you'll participate in the band.
Yes.
Okay.
If I have to. Okay.
Right. Well, tell me about the Main Street Arts Council and doing these plays. So
Yes.
you direct them.
Yes.
What can the kids expect and how do they get involved and where can you go to see these things?
So right now we are in Hoxie, Colby, Atwood, Goodland, and Quinter. And kids right now we're in the process of setting the summer up. We've already sent our grant applications in, which is a big check off the list for the summer. We usually do auditions in April and we notify all of the kids. We have a really great network so far. This will be the 8th or 9th year that we're doing this. Mm-hmm. So I should know those numbers, but after a while, it all blurs together. Last summer, I directed 4 shows in 4 different towns, and since then, my brain has been a little mush. But we'll do auditions in April. Everybody gets their parts in May, and we start. And kids, we hold them to a pretty high standard. Mm-hmm. They get their books, and they get the music, and they come to rehearsal with everything learned. And I expect that of them. I'm kind of a taskmaster with that, but we have the chance to really achieve great things, and the kids out here are so talented. It's just a joy to work with them, and every year they surprise me more and more in what they can achieve on the stage, and it's really exciting.
Do you know the show for this year yet?
Yes, we do.
Can we talk about it?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. In Hoxie, we are doing Hawk Jr., which is a story based off of The Ugly Duckling. Mm-hmm. Here in Colby, we are going to do Matilda, which I'm very excited about because it's just a show about ornery kids, so it'll be fabulous. In Atwood, we're going to do Madagascar. Goodland will be Jungle Book, and in Quinter, they're going to do Aladdin.
So you do these all at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a lot.
Yeah, well, so I'll do.
Mind.
Yes, and there's one more thing. We're also doing for the first time an adult production in Colby of Little Women. So there was a complaint a little bit that the older kids, as they were getting better and better, they didn't want to do the quote unquote little kid shows anymore. And so we're going to try this year to have an opportunity for our interns and older participants and people from the community or the region. And we're going to do Little Women as a full adult production.
Okay. Little Women is just a play. It's not music.
It's a musical.
It is a musical.
It is a musical.
Okay.
I'm very excited.
All right. And so if people are interested, so it sounds like for that, like you don't have to be from Colby. You can be whoever wants to
audition.
And so in 2 months, the parts will be out there and you can come and say, I'd like to audition.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. And it's one important thing is that it's free for every child to participate. Or now adult. Mm-hmm. Like that's a big thing that I wanted is that no economic barriers at all. There's no pay to play or pay to perform. Every child that wants to be in the show, as long as they behave, they can be in the show.
Right.
So.
But you sell tickets. In order to watch it, you have to.
We do sell
pony up a little bit
tickets.
of
We
money.
do sell tickets, and we do work together with the communities and ask for sponsorships and ask for community buy-in, either through the community foundation or donations. And we do some fundraisers. We do want skin in the game from each community that we are working together to create this opportunity for the kids. So we do ask that there's some community buy-in, but not from the kids or not from families.
Got it.
That's there, but we do hold them accountable. The kids do, yes, they haven't paid, but if they don't participate and they don't work hard and they don't show up with their lives learned, we have discussions.
Right. How long are the rehearsals? How long does it take you to put on a show?
I hold the rehearsals to 1 hour because kids are so busy, and summer is crazy. I do not know how parents survive June. It's a mystery to me. So we just have 1 hour rehearsals.
How many times a week?
4 times a week, and
Okay,
it depends
big
on the
commitment.
role. If they have a big role, it'll be more often, but sometimes they may only have 1 or 2 rehearsals in that week, depending on what scenes we're rehearsing.
Right.
And it's usually in a 6-week period we put the show on. So 6 times 4.
All right. So do you see each other in the summer?
Do we see each other?
I get asked to help building
Yeah,
sets.
build
and,
sets and do
All right.
sound and light, depending on. Now he's open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it's a little trickier.
Right. Right. Well, so did you?
But I will be open for Bonnie to go after
Afterwards,
rehearsals.
yes.
Yeah.
She can come in for
There
a
you
cocktail.
go.
Okay. Right. Talk about the drama of the day.
Right.
So did you actually did you renovate this place yourself?
Parts of it. Well,
Okay.
not the living space, but this, I did.
Okay. All right. All right. So cool. This is all Bonnie and Carloff.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is all. So when it's not perfect, it's us.
Right. Right. And then I saw that there's some intern opportunities at the Main Street Arts Council.
Yes.
Is that directly associated with the play or just a summer job? What's the
So it is specifically connected to each show. So we have an intern for each community for that show. So there will be a Hoxie Honk Junior intern and a Colby Matilda Junior intern, and they're paid positions, which is really important to us. So we pay our interns and our choreographies and our directors. So we're also creating jobs for artists in Northwest Kansas, which we're very excited about.
That's great.
So yeah, the internships, and this year we're doing the internships with Next Gen.
Okay.
They've
You got a
agreed
partnership with them.
we have a good partnership with Next Gen, and they're going to do all of our interns for the whole area.
How did you set up that partnership? If other people want to do an intern program, I'm curious about that.
Well, that would be a very good question for Carl Pratt.
Okay.
Carl,
I'm gonna have Carl Pratt back on the show.
I know, he's so good. He is just so great at connecting with everybody. And we started that internship. At first, we just had a couple of spots that we gave to kids in Hoxie and I believe Colby at first for our interns. And we've done that for about 3 years now. And that partnership is just growing. And this year they're like, hey, we like what you're doing.
Right.
Let's talk about this and let's have all of your internships.
Right. And so Next Gen is actually financing their salaries on your behalf.
Yes.
That's really great.
Yes.
And then if people want to participate in that, is it similar to the shows? You can apply sometime later in a few months?
You have that. Actually, I just sent that out to a lot of my kids now. You have to apply now. The deadline is March 1st for the Next Gen application. Yes.
Okay. And then there's an interview process and
Yes.
there's only one per show.
Yes.
So it's a plum opportunity.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's really cool. Well, so I guess I'm curious if before becoming involved at the Main Street Arts Council and opening a bar, you studied in UC Boulder, and then went and got your master's in Germany.
In Berlin.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what took you? Did you just meet Carloff and you're like, well, I have to get my master's degree in Germany?
Met Carloff after I was already over there. No, honestly, like I was studying at the University of Colorado in Boulder, and it was I was getting ready for my senior year, and they said, hey, we're opening an exchange program with a conservatory in Berlin. Who wants to go? And I was like, me? Like, do you speak German? No. Will you learn? Yes. And then.
So you were like the first group.
I was
that
like
did
the
this.
inaugural group, and I got very lucky because it only lasted 1 more year and it was done.
Cool.
It just didn't really work out, but it got me.
It worked for you.
It got me over there, and I decided to stay and get my master's degree there. And then after that, I just stayed and kept auditioning and singing.
And you were performing in German music theaters
Mostly
around Europe?
operas. Mostly in operas. I did the opera studio in Munich, and then my favorite thing, I started doing some off opera, like off Broadway, but off opera with a fabulous director named Johannes Müller, and that was the best. And then I also did some, main stage opera in Leipzig. I started to get my foot in the door with Wagner and everything, and then we moved back to America.
And you're a soprano?
No, I'm a mezzo.
You're mezzo.
Soprano.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that like performing in? I mean, those are big theaters, big crowds.
Yeah.
Was that just like the best time?
It was pretty amazing. I had one of my favorite moments. It was probably the smallest role, but we were doing Electra, and I was just one of the maids in Electra. But at the end of the show, we all ran back out on stage, and we got murdered, shot to death. And so there's just the stage full of bodies on the floor for the last 20 minutes of the opera. But the best part is you're laying on this wooden floor, and literally you have the Gewandhaus Orchestra, which is the orchestra that was playing in there, one of the top orchestras in the world. So you just get to lay on this floor and listen to the most amazing music in the universe just coming up through the wood into you. It was
normal people have to sit far away and pay 200 euros to listen to this.
Right. We're just sweating and laying on a cold floor, but it was worth it. No, it was incredible. It was amazing experiences.
And how did the two of you meet?
In a bar.
In a bar? Okay. So
I was working in a bar, and then,
It's really tough, the conservatory life. You have to go and relax and blow off some steam.
Right. Well, the Berlin nightclub scene is like, did you work? That's like midnight to 6 a.m. is when people are open? Is that kind of
There's no curfew, so.
And you don't show up before 11.
Before 11, it's like, everything is basically done here by 11.
And are you trying to transfer that type of culture to the youth of the Midwest?
No,
it seems like
I do not.
Road.
No, your kids are safe with us.
We're older now.
Okay.
We like to
You're embracing the Midwest culture. Well, how did you make the call to move back, and like, how was that discussion in the relationship world?
We basically did Berlin. At some point, it's I don't know.
Says the Berliner. That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, it was. I don't know. It wasn't doing it for us anymore. I was. We tried to do different things with writing and music and opera, and then there was a one event that made Bonnie decide she can't.
There was one event that caused the panic attack, and basically 6 months later, we were in the United States. I was like, no more. I'm done. We need a change.
Cool. And then
all I wanted to do was writing a book, so I didn't really care where. In Berlin, distracts a lot, so I was happy to get away from the.
So you're like, I can write a book in Hoxie.
I can do that.
You can write a book in Hoxie.
And is that where you landed? That was their first stop back here?
Yeah.
And so what was it like? Was year one like? Did you come visit and make the call, or did you just get a plane ticket, one-way ticket?
Well, we had come back and forth to visit my parents in Hoxie, so it wasn't a complete surprise for him. He knew what he was getting into. Right. But no, we didn't really know. So when we came back, the idea was that I was going to go to New York and audition and see where we were going to land. And then I kind of looked around at the musical landscape of Northwest Kansas, and in Hoxie at the time, there were no piano teachers. There was a big
nothing,
a void.
For and
it just kind of broke my heart. And
because the kids are so talented.
They're so talented.
The first students you had is like, was amazing.
Yeah, and I just was like, I feel hypocritical to move to a city to give voice lessons
where they've got plenty
of voice teachers, and I'm not that hot and excited about getting back into professional singing because it's brutal, and I'm just like, it's kind of nice to breathe and not have all of that happening. And so I was like, Carloff's like, I don't care, I can write my book wherever, just give me a room and a desk. And I was like, okay.
And then we were circling the pool hall more and more. I thought, that's cool.
And then you bought that, renovated
Yeah.
it, and you could. That seemed like a good place to write. Did you write the book?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
in the basement.
Okay.
No windows, no nothing. It was like a bunker.
And what is the book?
It's out there somewhere in German. Long Cactus is the name. It's about you and me, basically. It's
Okay.
I don't know. I try to describe it as philosophical fiction.
Okay.
And so his degree's in philosophy, and it's a phenomenal book. We're working to get it translated into English, but
That's a lot of work.
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work to write a book to begin with.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And so, did you find you opened your studio, and how hard was it to find students interested?
Not hard at all.
Okay.
Like
Just go to the high school or the junior high. And
well, I mean, the good thing is that I was from Hoxie, and that's the good thing about small communities is we all know each other. And so I almost had a full studio pretty quickly just from word of mouth. So it was great. And it grew and grew and grew. And then I started branching out to other communities because going back to how busy everybody is, the kids aren't going to get that opportunity unless I go to them. Because how do you do 3 kids in high school, junior high, and grade school in basketball and taekwondo and everything else, and then drive an hour and a half to a voice lesson?
Right.
It's tricky out here. So, Yep.
Yeah. So there's plenty of demand.
Plenty of
Are you
demand.
booked up?
Yes.
So
I am.
no more students at the moment.
With a wait list, but always contact me because life happens and people get busy and have to stop for a year or whatever. So,
or they just finish high school
Or they
and go
finish-
somewhere else.
finish high school.
And leave you.
Yes.
Well, and have you found that you've got students now that must have gone on to college and are doing have music as part of their life?
I think that's a good question. They all have music as a part of their life, and I hope that they're all wonderful singers. I don't have anybody that's gone on to pursue music per se as a career.
Mhm.
And I will always be very upfront and honest with my kids or my students about what that entails.
Right.
Having been there,
What does
That
that entail?
you need to have.
We need to have another podcast.
That's another podcast.
Okay.
No, have a thick skin and be pretty tough and believe in yourself to the core of your soul.
Is it like auditions and rejection as difficult?
It's that it is, you're in a world that is ego-based in a sense, which I mean is our whole world, but it's inferiority complexes and imposter syndromes on top of egomaniacal narcissism. I love the professional musician world. And it's just, who gets ahead to maybe get the job. And when you get the job, is this person better? And I got to push you down to look like I'm better. And there are wonderful people, and I've met my best friends in that world as well. But just the day to day is a grind.
Mm-hmm.
It's a grind.
Well, as far as I understood, it's like a disappointment. You do it for the love of music, and music itself is a smaller and smaller part of the whole career thing, because the rest is just a career like everything else.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you spend only, that small part of your daily life doing actual
Well,
music.
no, it's mostly music, but it's just like, do I want to enjoy music later on in my life, or do I want to get to the point where I hate it because it's too much?
Right.
And that was the decision to also move from Germany to America. Is I want to love music,
Mhm.
and I want to give that love of music to kids and not stay in this toxic environment where I'm going to eventually not like it very much.
Right. Do you feel like you found that sweet spot?
Oh, love it. Yeah. I mean, that's all I do all day long.
Music.
Music. That's it.
Right. And well, so how did the two of you split responsibilities? It sounds like you got a lot on your plate.
I don't do much.
Okay. Carloff is the.
No, it's like basically each one has his or her own business,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
sometimes you throw ideas at the other one and they reject it. And, that's how it goes.
It's like the music industry.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's like, no. No, I kind of, with the bar, I help with the books and do the Facebook stuff,
Oh.
So
Everything computer is like, no, I quit that.
All right. So
Yeah.
bookkeeping, you're having to do the QuickBooks.
well, or Adam's Brown Accounting is doing the QuickBooks, and I'm just
Okay.
kind of doing the daily, up to date, and
Okay.
all of those things. But no, there are professionals that are fabulous at that.
Okay. Good.
So
Even out here.
yes,
All of those things are out
yes,
here.
and because we're not.
Right. Well, you have any thoughts for like? I mean, you sort of guys just dove in. You sort of opened a business in Hoxie. You've done the same thing here in
Yes.
Colby. Thoughts or lessons learned for people that are thinking about taking a stab at opening something on their own or going off on their own?
If you have an idea, stick to it. Don't bend. Don't listen to the
chatter.
white noise and the chatter of everybody else. If you just do it out of a passion,
Mhm.
and if you have that idea, just go with it and stick to it. And I mean, we're evidently not business people, so we never do business decisions. You know, it's never about we should do this because there we find a niche to make some money or something. It's more like we want to do this and let's see what's happening
Yeah,
next.
I need to teach music, so let's teach music. Or we miss Berlin bars, so let's make a Berlin bar.
Right.
Or I love theater, let's do a theater festival. How do you make money? I don't know. It'll happen. We'll
Right.
figure
From
it
a
out.
business perspective, I don't know if we're the role models. You probably could
Right.
do better, but
Right.
if you want to stay happy, just stick to
Right. There wasn't an Excel spreadsheet with a number on it that said, let's open a bar because of this number.
There was, because my mom is a banker
Okay.
and everybody in our lives are very good with numbers. And they're like, okay, you've had this idea. Let's make a spreadsheet. And Karloff and I kind of sat there like the, second graders, like, oh, fractions. So there
Right.
was an Excel spreadsheet and there were all of the numbers.
And now real numbers are coming.
And now
in.
real numbers are coming in.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Because they're never correct. They're
Well,
just
and
guesses,
that's like,
right?
we're just like, what is this spreadsheet? This is just fantasy. But sure, let's go with it. It looks good.
Right. Right. Well, you do have to have, resources where you, well, I guess like buying a place in
Mhm.
Western Kansas, sometimes it seems like you can find some properties that are, nobody else wants because they don't want to put all the work in to make it something great.
Yeah.
Is that the situation with both of these properties you found?
Even in Berlin, we did this.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a theme here
So
that
you have a
we
model.
do. We
Okay.
always find the sad house and try to make it happy. But yeah, I mean, it's just, this is such an incredible building and it has so much history. It took us a while to even just understand all the catacombs of it
Mhm.
and how we didn't even know how to even draw the building on a diagram at first because it was so complicated. But
Really?
yeah, find the sad building and make it happy.
Well, and what's the plans for the future of this building, or where's the next stop?
building the bar out there. The original idea was to build the bar in the front, and this having like a gallery.
This
and-
room was originally supposed to be a gallery.
Okay.
And so when you first come in, the other half of the building that's yet to be renovated will be actually the bar. And because it was an old theater on that side, it's still sloped down.
Mhm.
So that will become our marquee lounge
Okay.
with where we'll have the live performances on the weekends in the marquee lounge. And then the front will just be the bar area.
Okay.
So, and then this will kind of turn into the gallery space again, or a space that people could rent for events
Okay.
or business parties or whatever.
But right now you're taking a little breather and just trying to like run a bar.
Yes.
And the 7 other careers you have.
Exactly.
All right.
Just a short break.
Yeah. Well, so I'm curious.
Yeah.
You've lived in Germany. You have all of these experiences. You got any favorite like stories from something that like as you're opening this place? There's always some sort of a
I know.
moment that just sort of.
This was actually the question I dreaded the most because we were like, do we have any anecdotes? And we didn't. We weren't thinking of one except
Well, it
for.
was, when you do, I worked in kitchens and bars and everything, and there's always that division between the front of house and the kitchen
Mhm.
because there's that big wall, and the one side doesn't know what's happening on the other side. So you start developing because they are always interfering with your work. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all for the guest, but you don't do that at some point, even. So at some point, Bonnie was helping. She's not anymore in the kitchen. And I was asking her just for some pepper or something. And she was turning around and just yelling at me, and it felt so like a real restaurant. And I thought, well, we are getting there.
The kitchen staff is at
it's
at the front of the house.
Done.
She hates me. It's
like, get the pepper yourself. I'm washing dishes.
We're professional now.
All right. So you knew you had made it.
We're there. We've arrived.
We have a real professional space here.
All right. So people can come find that on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, you said?
No.
Just Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, you got to have a day off.
Sunday is the day off.
All right. Well, I think I'll leave it there. That's great. It's so great to hear about the background, and everybody come out and check out the Orange. They're open. What is today? It's Friday. They're coming in tonight.
They're open today.
4 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see everyone there, and everyone have a great weekend. And is this Valentine's?
Yeah, it's Valentine's month.
No, Valentine's month. Okay. Just
We
regardless
close
of
on
that.
Valentine's Day.
But on the 12th, we will have Brad Dawson playing jazz, which
Okay.
is the Saturday before Valentine's
Saturday.
Day.
All right. So you can plan
Yeah.
dates. Oh, I meant to ask earlier. No reservations required.
No.
Okay.
No.
But there's peak times, so you better get out.
Yeah.
Come out and check it out.
Come out all the time.
All right. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you
really
so
great
much.
to talk with you today, and we'll see everybody next time here on Seeking Context.